Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Being Abundance podcast. This is already the third episode, and today we're going to explore the second law of abundance, the law of echo. And I'm very happy that I will explore this law together with my great friend, the contemporary mystic Sujit Ravindran. Welcome, Sujit.
Lovely. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, my great friend, Kuhn, for this renewed journey, the third episode. And as always, before we start, we have a custom, and that is to take a minute to recenter. So I welcome you to join me into a little recentering. So if you have any electronic devices, anything that you don't need for this conversation, the invitation would be to put it on silence and away from your body and find a comfortable position where you can be seated with your feet on the ground, shoulders relaxed, eyes closed. Spine straight and free from your backrest. And bring your attention to your body and scan the sensations across your body. And notice any ease or lightness anywhere. Notice any heaviness or discomforts anywhere. And keep your attention on that spot where you feel discomfort and join me in two deep breaths deep into your belly and release. Continue to remain with your attention on your body, relaxed, eased out, and return to this conversation. And we can resume. Oh, there we are.
Thank you, Sujit. Very good to find a moment during the day to recenter. I always do it during the shower when I stand up. I take a moment
Uh-huh.
to just allow and be. And actually, it's great to meditate. It's great to be present to whatever happens. To not disturb what happens. That's for me meditation. So, what is for you actually meditation? Before we dive into the law of echo.
Wow. It's a lot of things. Yet, perhaps the simplest way I can put what meditation is it is the reappearance in the here and now. So, departing from the past, from the future, from our thoughts, our imaginations, to just becoming here and now in this moment of time and in this space. And the way, of course, we do meditation. There are many techniques of meditation, but for me, predominantly suspending, no, I mean, thought, just suspending thought. And how do I suspend thought? I just bring my attention to my body. I observe my body, or I observe something else, maybe God or the formless, observing. And the subtler and subtler I can observe, the better.
Wow.
So, observation. And that
Beautiful.
observation, it kind of like, takes me into that space of non thought, that space between my thoughts. So, there is one thought, boom, microsecond later, another thought, another thought. So, we are like this, those waves in the ocean, those thoughts emerging from the ocean and returning. And that between those two waves, there is a moment of non thought. And embracing that non thought through the process of observation so that I return to here and now. That for me is kind of a little descriptive of what meditation means for me.
Beautiful. Well, I fully relate to that. I recognize it also as truthful. So thank you for sharing. Um, Last week, we dived into the law of exchange, how the universe is operating in such a way of giving and receiving. And it was actually quite interesting to explore that law. Now, today we are going to speak about the law of echo. And
Yes.
I read the seven mystical laws of abundance, your book about the seven laws. And one statement was very close to my heart, and I would like to share it with you to explore this law. And it says, everything that manifests around you is an echo of your inner state. We just spoke about meditation. And yeah, if you're in meditation, then everything around you can feel peaceful. But you can also hear your neighbor or your child maybe crying, or you hear some people around you walking. So yeah, and then it is actually a practice to see that also as part of your meditation. But everything that manifests around you is an echo of your inner state. Could you share with us a bit more how you see that wisdom that you have written in that beautiful book, The Seven Mystical Laws of Abundance?
Very much. The first thing I want to do, of course, Kuhn, is to take you through a little exercise. And this is an invitation also for all our listeners. A very neat exercise
All right.
that is going to help land the law of echo. So, before I unpack anything more on the law, with our innocent minds, I'd love us to do this little exercise. So, for this exercise, and you can join me, Kuhn. I know that you've done this once in the past, at least. So, with for this exercise, I invite you to find a piece of paper, like a loose piece of paper. All right.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have it here.
Good. Lovely. And put that in the landscape format. So, like this, not like this, like this, and draw a vertical line along the center from top to bottom. Done. And on the perfect. Your piece of art is emerging.
Nah, a
The
new
little
Picasso
cool.
is yeah, a new Picasso has emerged indeed.
All right.
Yeah.
You know, you can finish your art in the days ahead. For the purpose of the exercise, though, now the left side of the line on top, write down the heading have. To have.
Yeah. And by the
And
way, our
yeah.
listeners, of course, please join us in this practice. That makes it fun. So,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
I'm writing
Oh yeah.
down have.
Yeah. This is a very profound one, and many of my friends have tried it in the past. Try it again. Um, Under the heading "Have," for the purpose of this exercise, Kun, write down one thing, just one thing. There might be more, but one thing that you would like to manifest in your life, but has not manifested yet. One thing. It could be something material, it could be something emotional, it could be something health wise, anything that you would like to have. Lovely. And you don't have to share that with me at this moment. I've also written down one thing that I'm setting out to manifest, that I'd like to have. Good. And on the right side of the line, the heading, write down B, B slash live slash feel. The heading be, live, feel. Good?
Yes, I did.
Lovely. Now, let's take the next 15 to 30 seconds and in bullets, write down, you know, once you have manifested the thing that you just wrote down on the left, then how would you be in your life? In bullets. Um, After the thing that you just noted down on the life, on the left, you've received or you manifested, how will you be in your life? And how will you live your life? And how will you feel within? All in bullets. How will you be in your life? How will you live your life? And how will you feel in your life after you've received that thing that you asked on the left side of the paper?
And that list can go on and on, right?
Well, Kuhn, you can finish your book later.
And
For
so
now,
I'm not only a Picasso, but also Ernest Hemingway. I know. Yeah.
my goodness, today is a day of abundance for you. Huh?
Yeah, it is.
Good. So here I have it. I've noted down a number of things.
Yes.
Um, uh, would you like to read out anything that you mentioned there? If you're comfortable.
Yes, yes.
If you're
Of
not,
course.
I'm happy to read my list.
No problem.
Go for it.
What as you know, I am actually quite a busy man in life in the sense of I have a family and I have two kids. So I wrote down to have, I wrote down the word on the left, the word balanced, to be
Okay.
balanced.
Okay.
And um, what so that is what I would like to have in life, a more balanced life. And then on the right, where you underneath be, live, and feel, then I think if I'm balanced, I will be peaceful. I will rest in my heart. I will be healthy. I will be sportive, and I will be compassionate.
Wow.
So that are the qualities that I think arise.
Wow. you know, um, I so want to acknowledge the fierce authenticity in the intentions that you're sharing with me.
Mm.
And If I have your permission, Kuhn, can I just quickly summarize this the practice that we've done so far?
Yes, go ahead. I'm very curious.
Yeah. It is our human conditioning, that, on the left side, we write, something that we want to have. And on the right side, the things that we will feel or live or be once we have it. It's our human conditioning to look at life that way. That once I have A, I will be B or C or D.
Yeah, I
That
understand.
is, I call it, we can just call it human nature, quote unquote nature, our conditioned nature, like that.
Hmm.
Now, having said that, my invitation is, can you cut that sheet into two along the line in the center? Yeah, cut it into two pieces.
I'm doing it right now. Yes.
Good. And now take the left piece and put
Hmm.
it to the right of the right piece.
Yeah.
So now on the left, the other way. Now take the
Yeah.
half piece exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Now you see we have the be, live, and feel on the left side and have on the right side.
Exactly.
This is exactly, thank you, Kuhn. This is exactly how the universe operates.
Mm.
It operates exactly the opposite
Yeah.
in which the human conditioning operates. That
So what you're
means,
saying, yeah. Go
go
ahead.
for it. Go for it.
No, how I understand this, and I this is based upon the knowledge that I received from you, is that when we embody those qualities that we think that we get when that what we would like to have, but actually it's already possible to embody those qualities, like being peaceful, rest in my heart, being healthy, being sportive,
Yeah.
being compassionate. I do not need necessarily the thing that I want to already embody those qualities, right? That's how I have to understand it.
That is one part of the whole understanding.
All
Very
right.
accurate part. And there is a second part to the
Mm,
understanding. That
mm.
is the manifestation part. That on the one hand, as you beautifully put it, Kuhn, the idea of, sourcing compassion, rested in your heart, etc., peaceful, is a matter of choice. It's an inner choice, all these things. The moment you embody inner choice, those things that you have set out with your intention, with your dream that you would like to manifest, will respond, will manifest. So the universal way of manifestation is exactly opposite to the way of our human conditioning.
Okay.
And this is the essence of the second law. Like the statement that you just mentioned, Kuhn, everything that manifests around us is an echo of our inner reality.
Yeah. But to make it even more understandable, when I was 16, I would not have written down balanced. I think I would have written down scooter, get a scooter, right?
Yes.
And then I would have written on the right side, I would maybe also have written down sportive. Then I would have written down being free, being seen by the girls, because you will
Okay.
get, if you have a scooter, you will be seen by the girls.
Okay.
All those, but also maybe the quality of being successful, and that there are all kinds of things that you think that you will get when you have a scooter. But what you're actually saying is just already be free, be successful, be seen in the sense of that you are not afraid to be seen.
Yeah.
If you have those qualities embodied, then the scooter will manifest itself.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. That is in a nutshell the second law. And yet again, you got to remember, all the seven laws operate in harmony. So, in wholeness. So, remember, I think it was in the last call, we examined the three qualities of true giving. And the truer the giving is, the more abundantly the universe responds back to us. Remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the three qualities or attributes of true giving, pure heart, with undivided passion, and with complete detachment to the outcome, so that's already from law one. We
Mm-hmm.
have to practice that too,
Mm-hmm.
alongside the second law, and
Mm-hmm.
then manifestation would explode. And of course, in the next 5 weeks, we will also unpack and lay out the other five laws, so that
Mm-hmm.
all our listeners, once they grasp the beauty, the simplicity, and the depth of each of these laws, and they will start embodying it or practicing it in their lives, many will respond back saying, you know what, like you said, already on the first hand, I'm happy as a human being. I'm much happier today than I was yesterday. And
Yeah.
that itself is a good enough reason to practice the seven laws.
Yeah.
Plus, there would be many of our listeners who would come back and say, like, you know what, hey, I'm manifesting beautiful things.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, it's a profound practice to understand that what you like to have, we have the illusion that once we have it, then we will feel peaceful, resting in my heart, healthy, sportive. But we don't necessarily have it in the material sense to already embody those qualities as peaceful, being healthy, sportive. I already can do that. And if the result will be that I will be more balanced, well, why not? If it is not happening,
Beautiful.
it's also not a problem because you already are embodying great qualities like being peaceful, resting in my heart, healthy, sportive, compassionate. So thank you again for this great reminder that we already can embody those beautiful qualities. Yeah,
I love it.
beautiful.
I love what you're sharing, Kuhn. I
Mm,
love what you're sharing. It's um, one of the greatest fallacies
mm,
of life that many of us, we are conditioned and we
mm,
carry on our back. A belief is um, that we can fix an internal problem with an external solution,
mhm,
or we can fill an internal vacuum with external substance.
mm,
No. Just to give you this connection, greed, greed. And
mhm,
I have experimented with greed in my own life, been stages of my life where I have pursued my greed.
mm,
And, the thing that you would notice is whether it's greed for power or greed for money, you know, having pursued both, you will
mm,
notice an amusing process. What happens is you will pursue the next position of power and you will attain it. And you notice deep inside that greed still remains. It's not like you become a CEO and now, God, I don't have any more greed for power. No. Or you become the mayor of your city and you're like, oh, you know what? I've become a political representative or a political leader. Now, I'll suspend my greed. Doesn't work.
no,
Because that greed is an egoic force that cannot be quenched through external manifestations, what will happen? You become the mayor of your city. You're thinking like, you know what? I should become the governor of my province next.
yeah,
So the greed will push you. Like, you have the first 100,000 in the bank, and
mm,
you think, now I'll suspend everything and and I'm not going to chase possessions. No, the greed will compel you to go um, get the next million
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
next million, or go on to become the premier of your land. That is the nature of the inner vacuum, that we can never fill the inner vacuum with external substance. Doesn't
Mm.
work. So essentially, if, like we did with the paper exercise, our intention is that I can go out there with all my force and break through walls and jump over all the drempels, the obstacles, and I will go and achieve, grab the thing that I am destined to have. What you notice is your life becomes a non-stop, a hurdle race. The obstacles are, you're all the time just finding yourself jumping over obstacles. That
Yeah.
is the nature of the human conditioning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I remember that Jim Carrey once joked that when he was announced as the 2 times Golden Globe winner, Jim Carrey, that he said, "Well, when I will be the 3 times Golden Globe winner, Jim Carrey, then I will be fulfilled." And that was, of course, the joke, because yeah, maybe if he has 3 Golden Globes, he wants four, five, six, seven, and the that is also part of human nature in some sense. That we always think that behind the corner there is the golden path, or we have to chase for, and that is also how our society is built upon that, upon the idea of competition, of doing your best and all that. But what you're actually saying is a whole new model and a whole new way of
Yeah.
being, and it's no coincidence that our podcast is named Being Abundance.
Yes.
Hè? So what is a way to because that void, I recognize that we can
Mm.
feel that void within ourselves, but how to deal with that void then, Sujit, if we cannot find it in the outer world?
Mm. Wow. First of all, the way you summarized that observation, it gave me goosebumps, Kuhn.
Mm,
you know our collective human conditioning and this illusion, you put it extremely well. I can't repeat the way you put that, the collective conditioning of going out there and sweating
mhm,
it out. No, in fact, even in the introduction of the book, I have shared some of the teachings from the mystics, the masters, that clearly says that the universe does not respond in abundance to what you ask or how hard you work. The universe responds in abundance to your being, to the level to which you self attune yourself to the universe, so that you become part of the sacred geometry of the universe. Whatever flow of abundance is there in space, in akasha, the more you self attune your vibration, self attune, self attune, until you actually become one with the subtler, causal, superconscious vibration of the cosmos, the
okay, now
more you have access to everything out there. And
okay,
you were asking
but
how.
yeah, no, yeah, yeah, I could ask how, but first, you're talking about vibration, to attune yourself to the universe in the sense of the understanding that we are part of the universe. It's not like here is Kun and there is the universe. No, we're actually in an integral part of the universe. So it's not like oh, I have to do my best to find the abundance in the universe. What you're actually saying is, the more I see myself being part of this universe, the more I also am capable of seeing the abundance that I am myself, right?
Very, very much. Very much.
Yeah.
In fact, I would go even further and say there that we are not only a fragment, an integral part of the universe with a capital U, we are also a microcosm of the universe. So, all that intelligence that is contained in the universe is also within us. So, it is that journey of oneness, as you beautifully put it, becoming integral to the universe. That is when we have the key to all the abundance out there.
Yeah. But if you look at science, you say becoming part of the universe, but as Alan Watts said, not the result of the universe. We are the universe, right? It's actually, we are actually part of it. So what to do with this wisdom? Because yeah, I understand also mentally that I'm part of the universe, and
Uh-huh.
we're not the result of the Big Bang. That is what Alan Watts said, but we are the Big Bang actually. So but what to do with this
Hmm.
knowledge?
There's a lot we can do, and that's a great question, Kuhn. There's a lot we can do. First and foremost, and I do meet a lot of people who come, who are recovering from low self worth or low self love or low self honor because they've grown up in traditions where they've been, I'm being judgmental by choosing this word, but I know you would understand, Kuhn, that I don't mean from a place of judgment. Many are wrongly conditioned to believe that they are unworthy, they're unwhole, they are sinners, that they need to spend their whole lifetime in guilt and seeking forgiveness. And if you listen to the mystics, whether in the East or the West, North or the South, even from the pagan traditions or the ancient religious practitioners in their purest form, there is a common acknowledgement that no, there's a simple understanding that we are all reflections of the divine. We are all microcosms of that universe. We are that universe. That entire universe is there within. And there is nothing unworthy of the self. Each one of us, with everything that we have and everything that we don't have, are incredibly beautiful human beings. No matter what anybody says, no matter how we are conditioned as a child, growing up being told that we are sinners, no, we are all reflections of the divine. I can only see when I look at, my children or people like, this morning I went out to meet a couple of people in an office, and they were very distant, very formal, very matter of fact, very transactional.
Mm.
And, we are all sitting wearing masks. So, nobody can see each other's smiles anymore. They can only see the smile through your eyes if they pay attention. I was sitting there and I was noticing them being them, conditioned in that field of systemic consciousness. And, we got on talking, and the humanness started to emerge. The incredible beauty inside all of them. And our appointment was supposed to be for 30 minutes or even less. We went on, had like a 1 hour, 10-minute meeting, and deep human connection, laughing about life, talking about our own hopes and dreams, all of that. That incredible beauty that we are emerged. And what I want to do here is, like I see in you, I want to continue every day just holding that abundance is part of my abundance consciousness, to hold the awareness within me that here is a beautiful manifestation of universe, a human being, perfect, whole, complete, fully worthy, rather than, get caught up in some kind of mental narrative that, here is an unwhole person, or I'm unworthy, I have low self-love, low self-esteem, my own self-reverence is not there because I'm not meant to feel worthy about myself. And everything that I should be doing, if I'm a good human being, is to every day wake up and ask for forgiveness.
Mm.
Now, I look at my kids, I look at your kids, and all I notice is divinity.
Yeah. Well, I'm very happy that that is your reality, and I have to say it's also my reality more and more. But what I do have to ask you is, we were speaking about that people can feel inner scarcity, as you call it, or as you said before, the void within that we tend to cover up. And I've done it myself in my life also. I covered it up with the let's say I started to sport manically very much, to not feel it, or um, to have a drink with your friends and another drink and another drink, to not stay with that void, because I still don't have an answer to that. Like, we
Yeah.
have as human beings, we can feel that void within. What to do with that void, Sujit?
Wow. Um, there are many things, many things, Kuhn. And I'm glad that you asked that. And I'm not sure I'll be able to go through everything in its entirety.
Mm.
And, you've read the seven laws. So page 49 and page 50 itself puts a couple of things out there.
It's already a
But
Bible that you quote. Can you also quote the verse and say,
yes,
yeah?
that
All
is,
right.
the practices 1 to 10, the 10 commandments, if you want to call it, page 49 and page 50. No, it's 8 commandments. But, I want to touch upon two extremely valuable things, which are very down to earth for what you just shared. One is to simply always replace thoughts of scarcity with thoughts of abundance. Always. Give it a try. Um, when you catch yourself obsessed with, oh my goodness, there's going to be another Friday evening pizza I'm going to miss because of this awful lockdown. Again, you see, you are now swimming in the thought of lack. Replace it. Just simply replace it with another thought of abundance. And this thought of abundance could be something from your past. The beautiful trip that you and your partner took through the Alps, or this incredible visit with your family that you joyfully spoke about a while ago, your visit to Lake Como, Italia.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
Sport that thought. That's a thought of abundance, isn't it? The
Yeah.
moment you think about it, what happens is you suddenly realize the thing that you have is so worth celebrating than the thing that you don't have that is so worth worrying. So
Yeah.
that, then the moment and the more and more I continue persisting diligently, holding in my awareness the thoughts of abundance, the more and more being abundance starts happening. You
Yeah.
will start, and I have worked with people extensively, and I'll give you a great little story in Norway that happened when I was 22 or 23. Want to go there or not?
Yes. That will be very interesting.
Yeah.
But I do have to say that I recognize what you say.
Uh-huh.
But please go ahead. I'm curious. Share.
All right, okay. This is something that I know a number of my North European friends, Dutch friends, etc., relate to. Um, when it's winter time in north of Norway, some of the regions that I have been when I was 22, 23, the incidents of self-destruction were high, among young adults. I say like 15, 16, 17, 18 times when people are very sensitive, you notice that even many cases of suicides, etc. And there in the community, what they did was they created some kind of a task force of big brothers and big sisters. So anybody who's interested, you can just sign up. And in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., you will get a call. And that was a time when I did not have a mobile phone or anything, but I had a very comfortable life. I had a phone, and somebody, a kid, would call you. Of course, they would call the helpline and they will put the call through to you. And you are the big brother. Middle of the night, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., somebody's crying and talking about her pain with you. And she wants to end her life because she feels this great sense of hopelessness, great sense of meaninglessness. She had a few drinks, maybe. Her partner, boyfriend broke up with her, and all she wants to do is to put an end to the suffering. And you just listen, and you listen. Sometimes they ask, what I feel or what would I do, etc. And if you feel like answering, if you have an answer, you just answer. So that's the role of a big brother. I used to do that. And eventually the idea came up for me, you know what? There are so many people suffering, so much of that we can offer. I volunteered to offer a workshop or ongoing series of workshops for these young people to start to work on their monkey minds. And one of the favorite things I love to do in those workshops is I would walk up to the window and I would open the curtain. I would look out, and if it's a winter month, or pretty much very frequently, the weather outside is cold, gray, cloudy, and windy. Think about these four words. That's how the weather is. I would open the curtain and I would ask these young kids, who are like 15, 16, 17, 18, how's the weather? And the kind of words they choose to describe the weather are extremely different than cold, cloudy, windy, rainy. They use the words like, this is shit weather. This is awful weather. This is miserable weather. And they will use other four-letter words to, to qualify the weather. And here is a funny thing, you would look at the weather without assigning any value to it. It's just cold, it's cloudy, windy, rainy. That is without any judgment. These are the qualifiers of the weather. But then these kids, they put their judgment on the same weather and they create a different list. Awful weather, miserable weather, shit weather, other dash, dash, dash qualifiers, all judgment. And what happens is the more you keep judging all the things that you don't have, you become it. You become scarce. That's it. You just become more and more scarce. So in that workshop, what I was doing was getting them to suspend all their judgments and become a compassionate observer of the weather. What is the weather? Weather is doing its own thing. Why should my inner well-being be entangled with the weather? No, I
Yeah.
will look at the clouds or the wind with the same emotion with which I will look at the sun and the warmth. And that is a powerful practice. So there, here we have two things. One is not harboring any thought, just to summarize, of scarcity, replacing it with the thoughts of abundance. And number two, just stopping, judging all the things that I disagree with. It corrodes the vessel. It's like acid in a metal vessel. The more there is acid in the metal vessel, it's the vessel that gets harmed the most. The more you carry all these judgments and scarcity consciousness inside, the more you become corroded from inside.
Hmm. Yeah. I think now about the Jiddu Krishnamurti, who said the highest form of intelligence is to observe without judgment. And that is very much what you just shared. But what I am also aware of is that these children that you speak of, um, like the word bad weather is actually part of our language. It's how we are raised. It's conditioning. It's formed by our teachers, by the systemic way we are brought up in the West. I remember that the teacher said, come in. It's bad weather. So
Yeah.
uh, what you share is true, but that conditioning can be very much the reality of people. How to break free from that reality of seeing the weather as bad. We started this practice with meditation. Is meditation a way to break free from that, or is
Mm.
it just like Krishnamurti said and what you just shared, to observe without judgment?
Remember, meditation is nothing else but observing without judgment. So these are not two different things. Throw meditation also into the mix. Great. Become the observer of without judging anything. Like you look at your children's clothes and pretty much the judgment. I see that happening with a lot of parents in the playground after the play school of my son. They are playing, and it's pretty much very often only my son who is totally wildly getting dirty in the park, and everyone else is being policed. The other kids are being policed by their mothers often, and rare occasions the fathers who are there. Like, no, 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 you will get dirty. No, 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 you will fall down. No, no, you will hurt yourself. No, you will hurt somebody else. You
Mm.
know, get out of the equation, just observe. Another extremely valuable practice that for me works every day is the practice of acknowledgments. I do this 3, 4, 5 times a day. I just pause, sometimes even close my eyes and take a deep breath, and I'll just bring into my awareness the things that I have in my life. And I've elaborated on this also in the second law. Kuhn, just quickly just asking, can you point out 3, 4, 5 things that you have in your life?
Yeah, well, one, that I'm alive, so I'm very grateful for that. Second, to have all this abundance of a family and children. My two beautiful daughters, Lucy and Coco, and my beautiful girlfriend, wife, Libya. It's pure abundance. Um, a new friend that emerged, Rodrigo. Um, he's now with us, and the guy is jogging every day. And today I felt in my heart, you know what? Let's jog with you. And we went into the forest, and I felt great abundance of having such a great friend that never said like, come, you have to join me. No, he just went to jog every day himself. And one day I said to myself, yeah, let's join. And it felt super good. I get new energy. So I want
Wow.
to acknowledge him for being a great role model in being healthy.
Hmm.
Journey to be in a balanced life, right? So yeah, it's great. It's a super. So there are, and I'm very. I want to also acknowledge you, Sujit, for being here in this conversation, because I feel it's a meaningful conversation. And in this time of great distress with people and the COVID pandemic, to have a meaningful conversation. It's beautiful.
Mm.
So thank you for that.
No,
But
no.
but let me return the favor in asking you what are you grateful for?
Um, Many, many things, Kuhn. And thank you for sharing, so originally, so authentically from the heart, the things that you're grateful for. And I want to add a few things to that list, being mindful of the listeners too. I say I'm grateful to the two eyes that I have with which I can see, the tongue that I have with which I can speak, the two ears that I have with which I can hear and listen, the two arms and my two legs that help me. I can do the kind of things that many others can't. I'm thankful for being able to wake up every morning and never have to worry that my family or I might go hungry today.
Mhm.
So I grew up, I know hunger. I grew up with that. I am grateful that I can wake up and not fear the fear of self preservation, that missiles do not fly over my head, bombs that don't get dropped in my village. Um, so much, so much to be grateful for. I open the
Beautiful.
window and I see pure nature looking back at me. The wind on my face, the wetness of the morning dew. There is so much to celebrate. And every day, I take 3, 5 moments like this, just a minute. It doesn't take a minute, just speak out to myself, you know, thank you for the wind on my face. Thank you for the food on my table. Thank you for being able to wake up without stress, thinking, will I have enough this month at the end of the month to pay for the bills? I do that exercise 3, 4, 5, 6 times every day. And that helps immensely keeping me this unrealistically optimistic human being.
Well, when I hear you talk about it, it feels abundant. That is abundance, actually, that you see everywhere around you, the abundance, that you see everywhere the blessing, everywhere the beauty. I remember that when I just met my girlfriend, that she had an orange, and I was also in that time practicing that very, very much, to be grateful for everything around me. And I think that was also one of the reasons that she emerged in my life. But I remember that there was this orange, and she had an orange in her hand, and I looked at it and I said, "Wow, what a beautiful orange!" And she said to me, "What? How can you say that about an orange? It's just an orange." So sometimes people also think you're crazy almost, that you see everything as beautiful, but let's
Ah,
that is part of it. That's part of the deal. Let them
you
think
know,
that it's not a problem.
Kuhn,
Yeah.
I would say if you say you're crazy, I would say stop bragging. That's what I'd say. Crazy is good. In fact, crazy is great. It
Mm.
is, you need to have a bit of craziness to make a difference in your own life and in the lives of others. Crazy. I love that word. I believe crazy must be the word that must have been invented by Jesus or Buddha or some, awakened, illuminated master, because it is such a valuable word.
Mm.
Crazy is good. You know,
Yeah.
I would say never stop being crazy.
Dare to be
Can you
crazy.
can you point out to me
Yeah.
any? normal, healthy kid who's not crazy.
Yeah, you're right. It's being playful. I understand what you say because yeah, I have to think about another quote. It's a day of quotes, but that doesn't matter. It's like uh, it takes someone who's sick to be well adjusted to a sick society, so better to be crazy in a society that is not working anymore proper, and be in that way of a revolutionary spirit, to be yourself, and to be yourself is already an act of rebellion, because we are in our life so much adjusted, and we have to conform and to be conditioned in a certain way to be people that are actually very well in buying stuff. That is how we are actually conditioned, because we learn at school to do mathematics, to do language, but do we learn to be great people at school?
Yeah.
I mean, that is something that we have to do ourselves. Why it's not the opposite, that we first learn to be
Yeah.
great people, to know that
Yeah.
we're great people, that we're born
Yeah.
great, and then the rest can come, right?
I
Yeah.
love it. What a great
Mm.
intention. And I'm looking at the time, so we should slowly start the wrap up.
Mm.
And I want to just own what you just shared, this last bit. What a beautiful intention, Kuhn, that you set by saying, you know, more than becoming good professionals, how about we just become good humans?
Exactly.
Going to school and you know for my son, who's now, almost 6 and, going to school or starting to go to school, my intention is just that. He's a very good human being, like every kid is born with that goodness, that divinity. And I just want schooling not to take that away from him. I don't want him to learn calculus and trigonometry and the history of some strange land and the latitudes and the longitudes of Greenland, etc. you know at his own time, in his own way, he will be drawn to it. The greatest teacher we have at our disposal today is google.com. So the way I feel is, may he go to school to continue to be a caring, loving, compassionate boy for others. He's a wild, wild spirit, as you noticed. And I want him to remain that way. I don't want school to condition him to be less crazy. So that's a good intention that you
Yeah.
share. Indeed, we shouldn't be conditioned to become
Well,
normal.
I just want to share with our listeners that when I met you some 9 years ago in the Stairway to Heaven, that was a place in Utrecht where we had a drink together, that I was also doubting, in some sense, my own perfection. And I had this inner quest of asking, like, what is perfection? I was very much conditioned by the Christian way of thinking, and to think about sin and that I was a sinner. And then through the Swamis, I found the Indian wisdom, and I found you as a journalist, or you found me. I don't know how that goes, but we found each other. Let's say it like that. And I remember that I asked you in that Stairway to Heaven, what is perfection, Sujit? What is perfection? And your answer was, Koen, if you look outside, please pick a tree and that you like, that you find beautiful. So I chose a tree just in front of the Stairway to Heaven. And you said, what is it to you? And I say, well, it's perfect. And then you say, well, if you would look very closely, you will see leaves twisted, little animals going through it. And that is the imperfection. But the imperfection makes the tree perfect. And then I realized that my imperfection, I'm perfect the way I am. And that was a great breakthrough in my own life. So I want to acknowledge that. And
Wow.
thank you. Thank you for that.
Wow. You're taking me back in time, what, 10 years? Huh?
Yeah, it's
Amazing
unbelievable.
journey it's been, huh?
Yeah, it is. And I would like to say to the listeners, I would actually to invite them to also make your own list of what you are grateful for, and please share it with us. You can share it underneath the video. One thing that you are super grateful for in your life. We are actually we enjoy to read your your acknowledgements and why you're grateful. And next week we will be here again, then again at 5 o'clock Central European time. And then we will speak about the third law of the 7 laws of abundance. And Sujit, what is that law?
The law of detachment.
The law of detachment. Well, I'm looking forward. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching through Facebook. And we'll meet again.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Koen, for this incredible 1 hour we spent together. And thank you for being who you are.
You're welcome.